Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you guys are having a good day. Today, it's the witching hour. Well, not quite the witching hour. The witching hour is kind of like middle of the night. This is a twilight town, I suppose. Yeah, we are celebrating Halloween here in Founder's Forge, and I thought I would take this opportunity to demonstrate a couple of things using, I guess, Halloween as a backdrop for explaining Redstone randomizers to you guys. Now bear with me because we can actually use a randomizer to make a kind of, I guess, trick or treat thing that we could put outside of these doors, and obviously on multiplayer servers this is going to be more effective for people to give your server mates a trick or a treat in a kind of automated way using redstone components. So I'm kind of interested in exploring the idea of redstone randomizers with you guys, and then we can give you an example in context. So it's going to be a bit of a shorter episode. I don't really have a huge amount planned for this. I don't have a big project to do with these yet, but I figured it would be kind of fun to show you guys a couple of examples of how you can use redstone randomizers to great effect. Starting with a nice simple example, because everybody likes to start simple. Of course, first I have to get rid of all of the stuff in my inventory from yesterday's episode, so bear with me while I go and sort my inventory out. So you may have seen redstone randomizer circuits in the past, and they are often fairly complicated, but today I'm going to simplify all of them by introducing you to a block you might be familiar with, but not necessarily in this context, the dispenser. Dispensers are actually very effective randomizers because each time they are powered by some sort of redstone thing, they will output a different item from one of the 9 slots inside the dispenser, but that is chosen entirely at random. Anytime a dispenser is used, the item used from the dispenser is completely random. And so if I put in, let's say, an oak log, some redstone dust, a pair of shears, water bucket, that kind of stuff, all of this is going to be completely random. And so when I press the button, we might get a piece of redstone. If I put the redstone back in there, we end up getting a water bucket, which, has just flooded the entire square. Okay, not the best example then. But you see what I mean. It's not choosing any particular item from the grid here. It's not choosing them in number order from the top left over or anything like that. It is just choosing them completely at random. I think in that case it actually used the shears, which is again something that I hadn't quite expected, but dispensers can be used very effectively as randomizers, and this is how we're going to set up a little trick or treat kind of thing over here by one of these neighborhood houses, and that's going to be a concealed trap or possibly nice thing for the people around here, and it's going to be something that you can use on a multiplayer server to trick your friends or perhaps treat your friends, depending on whether or not you feel like they deserve it. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead over to my storage system here and pick up one of the things that I feel like is a little bit neglected lately, the trapped chest, of which I have one example in here. Now, we're probably also going to grab an item frame and a sign for a little bit of decoration. Let's grab a pumpkin out of here. Perfect. There we go. Let's grab that. And I think that should be all we need. If we've got the dispenser, we've got some redstone dust and a trap chest, this should be fine. Now let's grab a splash potion of healing, and we need some other kind of negative effect here. We need the trick to go with our treat. So let's head back down to the secret potions lab underneath here, and let's see if we can brew up a potion of harming. That feels like a good alternative to the potion of healing, doesn't it? Do we have any spider eyes left? Dang it, we don't. Okay, need to brew up some of those then, I guess. Never mind though, a quick trip over to my spookiest farm, the witch farm, and this should have plenty of spider eyes for me to get. Let's see. Oh yeah, oh yeah, we have a whole lot of those in here. All right, let's go and ferment some of these. I will also need some glistering melons, which I'm pretty sure I can trade from these farmers. Yes, 3 for a single emerald. 6, nice and easy. Okay. So all we need to do is pop the fermented spider eyes in there. It's kind of bottlenecked by the amount of brown mushrooms I could get, but we're going to have to add in the potion of healing. We're going to have to add in the glistering melon slice manually because there isn't actually space for that in this automatic potion brewer. So room for expansion, I think, for this thing. But of course, once we got that in there, we can throw a fermented spider eye in there. We can throw in a piece of gunpowder to make it a splash potion, and that will brew us up a few potions of harming. Now, I don't feel like tricking the pillager who now lives in this house. Instead, we're going to put one outside of this front door. I think this seems like a nice place to do it, and we got our trap chest here for that very purpose. Now, let's see what we can set up, because we don't want people to be able to see the dispenser. We actually want to bury it underneath a block, and dispensers are pretty cool in that they will actually dispense stuff through a solid block and it'll just pop out on the surface. In the case of these potions, it should still splash the potion around this block, making sure that a player standing here is caught in the area of effect. So let's actually dig it down right here, and let's place the dispenser underground like that. We should be able to pop a grass block over the top. Nobody will know the difference. Now, of course, our trap chest is going to be on the surface here, so we want to dig down a little bit, and we want to make sure there is a dot of redstone dust there next to the dispenser so that we can cover that over with a block and cover that block over with a trap chest. And now, when the trap chest is opened, it will send out a redstone signal that should light up that piece of redstone dust, which will in turn activate the dispenser. Let's listen for the click. There it is. You heard the click of the dispenser. The dispenser did fail, obviously, because that means, the dispenser didn't fire anything because there was nothing in it, but that proves that this little contraption here works, and that is a perfect way of pranking some server mates. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that everybody can see it's a trap chest, so it's a little bit obvious what our game is here. One way of getting around that, though, is to add a sign on the front and even add an item frame attached to the front of the chest there. So you can kind of see that there is that redstone around the trap chest lock there, but, you know, people aren't necessarily going to see that from the front, so that's probably your best chance of disguising the fact that the chest is trapped in the first place. I can also add a pumpkin into the item frame like that, which looks kind of cool, and then if we take the sign off, we can reapply some text to it like that, and we can write trick or treat above it like so. And then you've got a cute little pumpkin head sticking out the front of there. Now, inside the chest, you could leave a present for them if you wanted to. You could leave them, I don't know, a candy apple in the form of a golden apple or something like that. But inside of here, this is where the real trick-or-treat process happens, because we can put in a splash potion of healing, and we can put in a splash potion of harming. And now, oh my gosh, oh, oh no, I forgot that because I haven't been sleeping, I'm being attacked by phantoms. Oh gosh, it's Halloween after all, folks. We got some spooky, spooky guys sweeping around here, and oh, we got a skeleton attacking us as well. I did not expect to deal with hostile mobs all that much, but I guess we're going to have to. All right, we'll take care of the phantoms as they appear. But for now, yes, like I was saying, there is now a 50-50 chance of which potion gets dispensed from here, either a splash potion of healing or a potion of harming. Now, obviously, if you want to up the odds of your server mate getting pranked with something that's a little bit damaging, you could always throw in a few more potions, and now there is a 1 in 4 chance that they will get healed, and the other 3 times they are going to get splashed with a potion of harming. So now if we walk up to this trick-or-treat chest, open it up, oh no, I took a couple of hearts of damage, and that was completely randomized by the dispenser down here. Of course, the trick you have to remember is to make sure that you disable the dispenser or don't put the splash potions in until you've put whatever you want to gift them in the chest, because otherwise you're probably going to end up getting splashed by a few of your own potions, especially if you've got potions of poison or something like that. It could go bad pretty quickly. But that is a basic experiment with redstone randomizers using dispensers. But we can go one step further than that, and we can use the dispenser to create a really interesting randomizer circuit that you can use with a comparator to output a variable redstone signal completely at random. You can use this to roll dice in-game. You can use this to do a whole bunch of other things, randomizing the output of something based on a player input. And after the break, I'm going to show you guys how. But first, I think I have some phantoms to deal with. Hey folks, welcome back. So we are out here behind the villager trading hall. This is kind of now my redstone testing ground now that we've developed this whole area into the trading area. And so I'm still going to be out here doing redstone experiments from time to time, and today we are going to be figuring out how to make a randomizer with a few materials I've already brought with me and 6 differently colored shulker boxes. These are going to be our options from 1 to 6, and we're going to be acting as though we are rolling a 6-sided die. So we want 6 possible outcomes. They're going to be dictated by each of these shulker boxes, which I've numbered 1 through 6, like so, and color-coded just so it's nice and easy to see that the randomization is taking place here. Now, we'll need a few other things from the redstone box. We'll need a few things like redstone lamps to show our outputs. We'll need to get a couple of pistons and hoppers, droppers, and at least 1 dispenser for this kind of thing. We'll also need some observers and some redstone wire, perhaps a couple of comparators as well. We'll see. But this is a neat little design that should do you right for any kind of redstone randomizer, as long as all of the options can be covered by the 9 things you can get by dispensing a dispenser. But of course, you could expand this to include 2 dispensers for a wider range of options. You know, you can Imagine this getting a little bit more expansive if you want to. We're going to start off relatively basic, though, just to give you guys the general idea. So let me grab the dispenser, let me grab a piston, and we're going to make a fairly simple setup that's just going to be able to break and replace a shulker box. So naturally, the components of that are a dispenser, which we're going to be putting here, and that's going to output a shulker box every time it receives a redstone signal. We are going to want a dropper to feed the shulker boxes back into the dispenser once they are put in a hopper down here. But of course, if we put the hopper here, it's going to drain the contents of the shulker box, which is not what we want. So we actually want a second dropper down here in the ground, and the hopper is going to be on top of that, is going to feed into that rather, like so. We're going to put a slab over the top there so that the shulker box gets broken when it is pushed by a piston, goes through the slab, gets picked up by the hopper, and then it's going to wrap back around through these two droppers and end up back in the dispenser ready to be fired again. And we're going to load up all 6 of our shulker boxes in here. Right now, these don't have contents or anything, so you're not actually going to be able to detect which number shulker box you have, but we're going to do some clever stuff in a minute that's going to show you how all of that works. For now, though, we will need a piston facing downwards off of the top there, like so, and we'll create a little circuit that's going to give us a brand new shulker box every time, and also recycle the shulker box that was in this spot already. For that, I'm actually going to grab an observer here as well. We'll need to face the observer this way, so it is looking at this quartz block I'm putting here temporarily. Oh, took a little bit of damage there. And anytime we change a block state in front of this observer, it's going to activate this piston, which is why, of course, we'll need a note block. The note block, if you right-click on it, tunes the note block. You can always put something over the top of there if you don't want the note block to make a noise, and that's going to activate the piston once, nice and easily, like so. Now, to make sure the dispenser fires at the same time, we're going to place an observer facing into the side of this observer so that whenever we end up activating this note block, it gets a single pulse. We could get it off of the piston, but then it would pulse twice, one for the piston extending, one for the piston retracting. We only want one pulse out of that, and that's what we get from this observer. And then, of course, we can just feed a redstone signal into the piston from the side here. So redstone dust there and there, that should activate the dispenser like so. And there we go. Anytime the shulker box gets broken there, it gets replaced by another one. Now, of course, we need to make sure that this whole setup is going to refresh anything that gets into this bottom dropper, because right now, anything that gets collected by that hopper is just ending up in the dropper and is not being recycled back up into the dispenser. To do that, we are going to dig a hole around the outside here, place a redstone comparator, taking a signal out of the dropper like so, and we're going to measure whether or not that comparator does anything using an observer. Filling up the blocks around the observer, we're just going to run a simple redstone wire like so, and now anytime the observer powers this block, it's also going to power the redstone dust, and it's actually going to pulse twice, one for the comparator activating and then one for the comparator deactivating, and that's going to power both this dropper here and that dropper there, allowing them to push any shulker boxes that are in either dropper up into the dispenser here. So it's basically going to act much like dropper pipes that we've used elsewhere in the series. Just to quickly demonstrate, there you go, you get 2 pulses like that. Everything is back in this dispenser here. There we go, done that a couple of times. We've still got 5 in the chamber and 1 shulker box right there. So on this side over here, we're going to be building the output for this circuit, and that's going to be a redstone comparator detecting the contents of this shulker box. And of course, the more contents you put in a container like this, the higher a redstone signal the redstone comparator is going to output, meaning that if we vary the contents of each of these shulker boxes, we should be able to generate a redstone signal that matches the value we have assigned to each of these shulker boxes. So we've got number 1 here, that's number 2, we've got 3, 4, 5, and 6. So over here, we're going to build we're actually going to build a wall here, because comparators can detect the strength of a signal, they can detect the contents of a container through a solid block. So we're actually going to be using that to our advantage, and it's a neat way of concealing this mechanism and also blocking this off to make sure when the shulker box gets pushed, it doesn't end up getting pushed onto one of these blocks to the side or something like that. So we're going to be placing a redstone comparator there. We're actually going to have this go around a corner and affect a row of redstone lamps over here, and that's going to show us the kind of number that we're generating using these shulker boxes over here. So let's have those redstone lamps lined up along here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, the way we're going to have to set this up is a little bit specific, because if you directly power a redstone lamp, it can power the block next to it, meaning that if we had just a single repeater lighting up this redstone lamp here, it would also light up the redstone lamp directly to the side, and that wouldn't give us an accurate readout. So the way we're going to be doing this is by setting up another row over here and setting up a row of blocks feeding into the back of the redstone lamps, and that's where we're going to be having our repeaters directing the current. We're going to use a couple more comparators here to extend the signal coming out of the back of this, and then run a line of redstone dust along the back here, and we're probably going to have to take this out temporarily. I'll block that up. We'll replace that in a second. This is just a bit of a temporary setup around the back here, and then each of these blocks is going to have a repeater feeding into the back of it, so that every time the signal strength increases along this row of redstone wire, it lights up one additional redstone lamp. So now this circuit is complete. We have a random number generator that will generate us a number between 1 and 6 just by tapping this note block here. Of course, it's not generating anything yet because we haven't added any contents to these shulker boxes. The easiest way to do that is going to be by using non-stackable items. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and unfortunately it doesn't just mean putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 items in here, because of course the comparator can only output a signal strength between 0 and 15, and it's detecting how much of this is filled up. It's doing it based on a percentage. It's basically dividing the inventory in here by 15 and outputting the nearest redstone signal strength it can manage out of that. So I'm actually going to get a crafting table here, and I'm going to make a bunch of the cheapest non-stackable items I can think of, wooden shovels. Of course, a wooden shovel is only 2 sticks and 1 plank, so generally speaking it is pretty cheap. It's also the item that I tend to use whenever I want something cheap to enchant. But all we need to do in the first shulker box here is add in a couple of wooden shovels. We will try that out in the circuit. I'm not certain if that's going to activate the first lamp here, because of course we do need a single bit of redstone signal to come out here before we start affecting any of these repeaters. So let's put that in position. Okay, so 2 wooden shovels, 2 non-stackable items in this shulker box does activate our first lamp here. For number 2, let's add a third wooden shovel and see if when we put this in the system, it changes the lighting here. Okay, it does not. Okay, so we will need an additional shovel to go in there. That's good to know. Okay, there are probably ways you could work this out more mathematically here, but I am kind of winging it with the amounts. Let's see how we do. So I've got the 2 shulker box with 4 wooden shovels in there. The 3 shulker box has 5. The 4 shulker box has 7 wooden shovels. 5 is a pretty easy one. If the maximum output is 15, then you want 1/3 of that, which is going to be a single row of wooden shovels, considering that you can have 27 items in here. 9 wooden shovels should get us a signal strength of 5 going through here, and then 6, I've just gone a little bit over. 6 is the end of the line anyway, so we could fill that up with as many wooden shovels as we wanted, as long as it's the maximum signal strength we can get out of here. And so let's see. Now, if we get one of these numbers next, then that should allow us to have any number of these redstone lamps lit up. Let's see if we're right. There we go. That should be 2. Fantastic. It is. Let's see what we get next. We got 1 again. Now, we got 2 for that one. That one should be 3 though, so we will need to add a shovel to that one, I guess. Let's see what we got. We got 2 again. This one here should have been 6, so we were a little bit off there as well. That is also 3. Okay, I was totally off with a bunch of these. We are going to have to fix that. Wait, guys. I know what I was doing wrong. My maths was fine. It was just the redstone was bad, because this redstone dot that we had on the corner here was, of course, taking the first piece of our signal strength away. So now by replacing that with a block and putting something in here, we're actually going to get an accurate readout based on the number of shovels that we have in each of these. So I can go ahead and remove the shovels that I added to some of these chests, and we should still be okay. Okay, let's give this a try. There we go. That should be 5. It is 5. Perfect. Okay, let's try that again. Now that is outputting 2. The 1 box is outputting 2. So we will need to fix that, probably by removing 1 shovel from that. That should only give us a single piece of redstone output. There we go. That one is 4, so that's working pretty well. That's 3. Okay, we're getting 3 from the 2 box now. Let's reduce that by 1 shovel again. A little bit of fine-tuning required, but nothing major. Let's see what we get. Yes, we get 2 now. Fantastic. That's 1. Okay, great. That is 3. Perfect. That is 4. Show me 5 or 6. That is 6. Okay, great. And I wonder how many tries it's going to get to roll a 5. There we go. We got 5. Okay, great. So now, after a little bit of trial and error, we have ourselves a redstone die, basically. It's going to show us however many digits we get based on the output reading of these redstone lamps here. That's pretty cool. I like that. We will have to figure out how we can use this for something. Maybe some sort of board game that we can build in Minecraft. Maybe we could add something like this over at the theme park as kind of a test your strength ride or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. See how hard you can hit a note block and it generates a random number or something like that. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at redstone randomizers, and hopefully you'll be able to find ways of using these in your world. At the very least, you can use the trick or treat box to trick or treat some of your server mates this Halloween. But that's going to be it for this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.